I would say you search for orgs doing similar work. You could probably find that through the IRS or with the Google search or the Perplexity search. Find the orgs doing similar work. Then you reach out to those people and say, hey, I would love to talk to you about, I'm at this stage. Can you help me? Can you direct me? Can you give me some ideas or strategies, or how would you reach out to get advisors or volunteers or board members? Or how did you get your fundraising kicked off? I think you'll find that most people at nonprofits, if they have
Hello. Welcome to another knowledge bomb episode of Lead to Greatness, where we believe in helping others reach their greatest potential and together change the world. Today on Lead to Greatness, we have John Bello. And if this is your first time, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of these amazing episodes. And if you're on iTunes, go ahead and rate the podcast and leave a review. That helps get the word out to great leaders and entrepreneurs like yourself. Please help me welcome John with how to leverage technology for maximum impact. Cedric Francis, and you are listening to Lead to Greatness.
I'm living in Austin, but I grew up in New York City. I've been here 15 years. I initially got involved in philanthropy right out of college. We have a great model for curing homelessness here in Austin that's been going on for 8 years now. It was Mobile Loaves and Fishes, but they formed Community First. And now they're sharing that model for years across the world. People will come, 100 people on average a year come and watch and learn how they can replicate that model in their community. It's pretty amazing. And so, yeah, this basically, if I can be honest, this came to me in a spiritual visit. I was doing deep prayers at a low point in my life for 9 nights in a row. And the 10th night, I was visited and told exactly what I should be doing, what my purpose, why I'm here, why they chose me, the whole 9 yards. And they said, we need to replace the social dilemma with social impact. We need to create a platform that allows anybody to have impact in the world, that it is about giving people, right, empowering people to be the change. They gave me the name of the nonprofit we formed initially, which was Change Unlimited, play on the word. Pocket change leads to real change unlimited, because it was about micro donations. Then gave me the name of the company, Infinite Giving, the tech company that be infinitely giving technology and transparency and opportunity to that space. So and Be Giving is just our DBA, because that became a much more publicly recognizable, and also it really is about be giving of you, your heart, your time, your talent, your treasure. Like, that's why we chose Be Giving. So the dream occurred in 2016. I took it up in 2019, and then the crazier part about that, Cedric, was everything I started to understand. So the research, the studies, and we're going back to between 2000, 2010 and forward, I looked at most of the stuff in the sector. Harvard Business Review, Stanford Social Innovation, Charity Aid Foundation, global studies they do, Giving Tuesday global studies. I've looked at everything. What we see as the major hurdles, there's overdependence on too few donors. So over-reliance on the few wealthy that give large amounts.
Ouch.
They represent 2.7% of your donor base. They represent 45% of your monetary base. It's not a healthy thing. Second, 85% of donations are small and micro. So why aren't they engaging more with people that can afford that, right? They're not. They're not good storytellers. They're not good at collaboration. And they definitely are not good with technology. So they're getting a little bit better. They're becoming more open. I just sat in a whole day's seminar on Tuesday, Fundraising AI. But to be honest, we are of the belief that a lot of nonprofits, especially the ones we would be helping in the 200,000 minimum, they file in 90 to 2.5 million. That's a percentage of 66,000 orgs in the US alone. And they do the hard work, and they're understaffed, underfunded, constantly challenged. Why don't we take care of their needs by offering a technology that makes them able to focus on what they do best, which is serve the recipients? We make it easy for them to tell their story, to engage younger audiences and broader audiences, and engage more people at the micro level. So we feel that's the most important way. And we call it the 3 E's, and we call it engage, educate, and empower the nonprofits. We also give them data, insights, and we give them basically a way to them to see how they're connecting to the other side. So if they share a video and talk about their impact, they'll see how many times it was watched, how many times it was shared, if it took people to their website, if people donated, right? All these things that they're not getting typically from any other platform that's working in that way, because we're two-sided.
Yeah.
Everything right now is either a SaaS product for nonprofits or charitable giving platform, just directing the money. They're not connecting the two sides.
Yeah.
The other thing was we felt they needed the data to feel comfortable finding collaborative partners. So we give them every cent of information about the nonprofits in the sector doing similar things, comparable things, and they can go and discover how to create collaboration. It could be for advocacy, marketing, could be for storytelling, fundraising, whatever they want to do. We give them that capability. But on the other side, we wanted to basically, again, due to these challenges the nonprofits have, we wanted to educate, engage, and empower the youth, people under 45. That's the largest gap not participating in philanthropy. So we said, how do we curate an experience, allow any of those people to pick and have the experience they want in having impact in their community, so they can find the orgs, decide how they want to activate, right? Do you want to be a volunteer first? Do you want to find an org and donate a one-time donation? Do you want to do quarterly recurring at $5? Like whatever it means to you to start having that. And then we created the value system of the socialization of it. So you can share the app with your friends. You can share orgs with your friends. You can share fundraisers with your friends, volunteer ops. All these things are shareable. And then on top of that, we made it so when you invite your friends, everything gets tracked back to you. So let's say, Cedric, I go, hey, Cedric, I want you to get on my app, Be Giving, right? And I get you and 10 other of my friends. So now in my app, I see you, the donations, the number of charities, the lives impacted. We're going to be tracking this data. And this is really important because then you start to see, it's not just about you, it's about how you activate your tribe. And then everybody, you see the larger, greater impact. Yeah. The other part about it, which is unique, nobody's looked at it this way, we said we want to go above and beyond that. So we said, let's create this capability for Be Giving to be deploying vaster quantities of capital into impact in these cities. Mm-hmm. So our revenue model is that once we're above OpEx, all that money goes back into deployment, into social impact in those cities. Wow. So I'll give you an example. So let's say we're in 50 cities, and just to keep numbers fair to make it easy for the people to understand. We're in 50 cities and we made $50 million above OpEx. Let's think of it and make it easy. There's $1 million for each city. Mm-hmm. So we would be able to go into the cities with their impact leaders and say, what's the best way we can deploy this from the Be Giving app to make a difference in your community? And then we're going to have those RFPs given to the people who are on the app in that city vote. Hey, wow. We want, Apple devices for kids in elementary schools that don't have Apple devices, right? Poor neighborhoods, whatever it may be. We want teen counseling, mental health for all the high school students between 14 and 18. We want a homeless shelter built, or we want to renovate a homeless shelter, or we want to this environment, like you could look at Flint, right? Their whole problem with the water. Maybe we create a public-private partnership to replace all the lead pipes. Like these are the types of things we want to activate and get this mindset around, like the greater good is done by the greater number of people. It's not the 1% at foundations. It's not the 1% in companies. It is us. And we want to empower that, democratize, and revolutionize philanthropy. The way we look at this is transparency is key. So people on our platform, they're going to be privacy. We're not doing ads. We're not selling, information or data. It's really critical we have respect of all the people that are on the platform. Mm-hmm. So first, it's transparency means we have to call on the nonprofits to understanding that people expect and demand more these days. So where was the money deployed? What did it do? And this is the part I think we got to really be more empathetic and compassionate about is, I'm sure, Cedric, there's nonprofits that get their $100,000, right? They raise and they don't meet their goals. And it was probably because something, they couldn't get to reach that goal. Now, they still made impact. They might not have they didn't reach the goal of the impact, but they did have enough impact. We have to stop judging them on these things because this is typical of any business. You can always set goals. You don't always reach your goals, but that's not something to be critical of. So we're trying to create more transparency around like sharing impact, right? Getting real with people and pointing out your strong points and your weak points, asking for help. That's the whole part of the collaboration tools. Hey, if you're able to reach 85% of your goal, but if you did collaboration, you'd be able to reach 100%, why not? Yeah. Right? Why not do that? So that's another important thing. Then it's like, how do we can use AI to empower both sides again more? So maybe they want to make impact. They're trying to figure out, they have this capital they've raised. Maybe the AI says, here's 3 other orgs you could partner with to reach that goal. It understands they're doing similar work. They're just in different cities.
Yeah.
They have a similar budget. Maybe they collaborate on that as well. They do a marketing effort through the app to reach their users, right? Their base. So all these different ways. So one of the things that was important for us was, like your nonprofit, they can only do so much with what they have. So if you're this one tonight, we're helping, I think it's like 150 people coming to the fundraiser, right? But they probably need a lot more money than they could raise from the fundraiser. Yeah. So what we're doing is our app allows them to upload their fundraising link. All their donors are going to get on our app tonight. They're going to be able to share that with their network. So people that are not at the event. And then tomorrow, we're going to have the recording of the speaker, maybe 2 or 3 minutes of the high points. That recording is going to be put in their media on the platform through the other side. So now their donors who come tonight can then share. Here's the speech you missed. Here's the cause we care about. Give 10 or $20, right? Wow. And now you just went from 100 people at the event to maybe 400 could participate, right? If everybody got 4 friends to participate. And now that fundraiser became much more effective, and it didn't cost them anything else to do this. That doesn't cost them to do that on our platform. All they're doing is sharing it and making it, right? Literally be sharing it. That's all we're doing is making it shareable through technology. These are the types of things we're trying to do to promote, again, capabilities that nobody's looked at or thought of. Other things would be, perfect example, advocacy. A lot of nonprofits, they're doing the same thing, they're just in a different state. Well, maybe you are in Atlanta and you find out this Arizona org, they got that law passed that you need to get passed in your state. Yeah. So you can reach out and be like, how did you get the law passed? Who'd you talk to? What did the legislation say, right? These are the things we're trying to make capable, again, at the operational level for nonprofits that don't have the time and resources, but can utilize what we've created for them. There was one of the sessions I went to, one of the people was sharing, they just sent us the program to actually be able to review the stuff we couldn't attend.
Okay.
And you just couldn't attend. It was like 22 things and you only had 6 hours. You couldn't attend everything. But anyway, they were talking about how a company's out there that uses AI. So you, Cedric, could say, here's the grant that got us $10,000. The AI will go through that grant. It will actually figure out what the strong points were or what the beneficial things that led to that grant being issued. And it will emulate that into whatever the new grant you're trying to go for, or it will improve it. So your capabilities of getting that are higher, or your likeliness, I should say, not capabilities. They were talking about how so many nonprofits, it's like you do the grant, and it's like very similar. Obviously, sometimes there's a different question or two, but like you do it and like these guys fund you and these guys don't. And you're like, why? Yeah. I don't understand that. Right. Yeah. So I think that's an area that's it's expanding, and it's definitely being, examined, and companies are looking at this space of how to make it better for you guys. I mean, I think personally, we have the IRS data from all these nonprofits, right? And it's like, why hasn't anybody just come up with, if you're in this criteria, right, you're doing similar work to X, this is what their grant and this is how they got it. And then you just apply. Yeah. Right. Because that, to me, that should be much more automated, AI driven. Like it already has the information. Yeah. So you could just pick the foundation and it fills the app out for you. Yeah. That would be fantastic and time saving. And I'm sure, there's a company called Candid. You pay for their services, but they have the largest foundation database in the world. They spent millions of dollars to develop it. And I'm sure that some of these AI tools will be enabled to go through their Candid and say, here's the foundations you should look at. Here's the ones you shouldn't. Mm-hmm. And then hopefully these other tools that the AI can be like, this worked on this grant. It should be applied all these points to that grant, right? I do know it's a frustration. And I don't think we want to get in that space because it's so specialized. But I think what would be cool for us to offer nonprofits is what we decided to, again, to this point, by the way, this is why we include it. Mm-hmm. When we create the profile page for every nonprofit, we show contributions, donations, right? Grants and expenses, because we want every nonprofit who's on the platform to be that transparent with each other and our donors. Yeah. So they can see, I only get 10% from grants, right? For a donor. I only get 10% of grants. I rely on you. For the nonprofits, they could be like, I do the same work as you. You're in a different city. How did you get 80,000 grants? I can't even get 12.
Yeah.
right? That's that other point of the collaboration tools. Yeah.
John, this is really good. You're really helping us. I want to
Giving.
dig more
Yep.
into be giving, because I know
Sure.
we're kind of talking about it and you're talking about what you do around, but I want to kind of get more specific, because I want
Sure.
listeners to know there is a platform that there's your organization is something that can be utilized to benefit what we're doing in the nonprofit space. So go ahead and share that
Absolutely.
with us.
So right now we have the website. You can go and nonprofits can register, and so can participants. We're going to call people who get on the platform be givers, by the way. But
Mm.
we're excited because in the next 2 weeks, our formal app, the real mobile app we've been developing for the past year, that's getting launched in Apple and Google stores mid-October. And by the way, if you're on the app now, the current existing one on the website, web-based, you'll just get transferred to the mobile version.
Wow.
So there's no question there. So we are excited because we know that capability we have of letting anybody get on an app and make a difference, and any nonprofit get on our desktop and engage and use the tools we've given them. We're talking about, it's so funny, Cedric, but any nonprofit, we're trying to be in this realm of like, spend 15 minutes a month.
Yeah.
You spend 15 minutes a month on our app, I promise you will see results. If you and I could get on that app for 15 minutes to a half an hour a month, we will be transformed by how simple we've made the process and the experience. With the neuroscience behind it is you feel so good, you're going to want to do more good, and you're going to want to spread that love to other people and invite them to participate. I mean, there's nothing better than, I hate to say this, but Christmas, you give a gift, right? You see your kids opening gifts, you see your parents opening the gift. Doesn't that bring you so much more joy than just opening your own gift sometimes?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
It's like, that's the way we feel like this app should be. It's like you
Yeah.
feel so good about how you're making impact. You want to invite all your friends and family and coworkers, have that experience for themselves.
Let's talk about some of the benefits with the app.
The way the app was structured on the mobile side for participants is you're going to be asked a couple of questions. Are you active now or not? And which kind of causes or categories would you like? And then it's basically allowing them they could browse, see the organizations in their community. They can choose how they want to activate. I'm going to wait for notifications on volunteer activities, which we do have to wait for the orgs to give those. Or it could be, I like this one, I'm going to give quarterly recurring $5, right? Or I like that one, and I'm going to do a fundraiser, participate in a fundraiser when they have one, their major gift. So maybe I'll give them 20 or 30 bucks. And then maybe another one is like, how else can I help you? Do you need advisors or board? Because we know we're going to get some people that are going to want to have time as their gift, right? Wow. And so that's important to understand, that we're trying to make it as a social. It's almost like an Instagram for philanthropy, and just make it fun for people.
You mentioned earlier you're talking about AI tools. So is AI integrated into you guys' platform, or how does that work?
Great question. No. So we are doing one new feature right now for nonprofits. We're in the middle of development. Hopefully it'll be out in November. And it's basically a storytelling bot for nonprofits. So this is one of their challenges. It's the time, talent, and cost factor. So we're saying, look, we already have your data from the 990. We have your website. We have your socials. So if we were to be able to give you features where you say, I want a still image video or active live, right? Or meaning like film, or I want female or male voiceover, or I want text just to be stills with text, like whatever those things are, they'd be able to literally make the storytelling video without doing anything themselves or hiring anybody or doing any of that.
Wow.
And that's the way we see the value, is like, if we can be telling their impact and sharing these stories, even if it's once a month, it is connecting to people's hearts, and it saves them the time and money, and they don't have to spend just trying to be creative and trying to be storytellers, right? This is so difficult for most people. Yeah. So if we can create that, that's AI in general will probably be a big movement for us in terms of 2025. And most of that will be from collecting surveys or data or feedback from active users. Where would you like to see features come and incorporate AI? Is it an assistant? Is it helping you find grants? Is it to help a person, connect with other orgs doing the same work in other cities? Like you'd be shocked. There's people that say, hey, I'm helping this mental health facility in my town. I'd love to help other mental health facilities in poorer towns. And they'll give $100 and divide it between the 5 of them. So there's people that are like that. And we don't want to have them feel like they have to go somewhere else to do that type of giving, right?
Yeah, yeah. As far as the nonprofit aspect of it, what's the cost to the nonprofit organization?
So the model is a 1/100th of their revenue. So if you were a $500,000 a year org, you pay us $500 to onboard, and you're in the app. Then we only take 1% of donations that pass through our organization, pass through the model, pass through the platform. That's it. So 99%, yeah, exactly. We're the lowest by far. The next lowest is between 4 and 8 and 12% up.
Wow.
The other factor is that your average fundraising event is 35% cost. So if these orgs are forced to have actual events, but then we have that tool that we're case studying tonight for them to enable that, well, then their cost can go down and they've raised more money at a single event without having to, spend a lot more money. So that's another added value there. And then for users, the users is just a $4 flat fee. We just figured it should be $1 per quarter. So $1 per quarter, and that gets you to, make your impact. And like I said, it's going to fund those greater deployment of impact dollars too when we do those group efforts to solve big problems. So for organizations, it's easy. You go in on our website and we just take your EIN, because your account is typically going to be there already. If you're an org between 200 and 2.5 million and you're community-based, you're pretty much in our database. We have 66,000. So you look up your EIN, we'd pull your data. It's already there in your profile. If you're not, we give you a way to enter a form and we'll reach out to you and we'll go through. And it might be because you weren't in the subcategory that the IRS gave us. You might be in just a different subcategory. But for most, they're going to be in our database. And that's it. Once you're in, all you're doing is telling us your lives impacted number, making sure the vetted information we have from 9 is correct. We do know that websites are incorrect, some of them, because we've tested. We know that some have the wrong phone number, some have wrong emails. This is typical. So we just let them vet that. And then after that, we do a demo, and it demos less than 10 minutes to get them up and running. It's so easy.
It's amazing.
That's the nonprofit side. And then the user side, it's pretty self-evidentiary. You go into, right now it's the web-based, but the mobile app, you'll go to the Apple or Google stores, download, we'll ask a couple of questions, and you set your profile up and you're up and running. It's super simple. Literally, that is like the keystone of what we're trying to do. So in this spiritual experience I had, what they were telling me was, and this is incredible because think about this. This is a year before the movie Social Dilemma came out, 2 years before Cambridge Analytica report on Facebook, So it's fascinating that they were like, you will create a platform where anybody can make impact in the world, right? And basically the best way to think about that is you're moving a mindset of the consciousness we have on the planet from scarcity to abundance. When you create that value for people, we have a complete shift in how we see the world, how we engage with the world, empathy, compassion, right? These are really important things to encourage people to expand their generosity. So I do think that this is the momentum we have right now, is that there's a generation under the age of 45 that wants the world to change overnight. So if we can empower them to take that charge and lead, we will create whatever we can to make that happen and make the world a better place for future generations.
So let's say you have a nonprofit organization that may be starting out. They don't quite understand the business. They don't understand the team building and team development. And the only thing you had, John Doe, he just started feeding out of his car hot dogs. And now he got this amazing, that just grew to this big community thing. Only thing he was doing is just trying to meet a need. He had the heart. What are some things like for an organization that may be a small organization that need more resources to reach the impact in that area? What are some of the things they can do?
I want to say that what's amazing to me with technology today is, I bet if you were an org and you got on Perplexity as an example, Perplexity is an app that's one of the fastest growing tech apps for AI search. I think it's going to replace Google search in a short period of time, by the way, but they just reached $1 billion valuation. They're rated as one of the top startups. But if you go into Perplexity and you said, I'm in Houston and I'm looking for orgs that give food to the poor, right? Or I'm in Houston, I'm looking for shelters that help veterans, right? I guarantee that app will find a resource for you It's impressive. We use it for our work all the time. But that's one way I would say in the short term. I don't think there's an easy response to the question, but I would say that there are ways out there to use search, use technology to find and enable. You might be able to do like even a search for orgs. So like right now, if you go to the IRS, there's a link that when you do, like you could search by EIN or type of org. And I bet that if you were, again, a smaller one trying to find these resources, if you went to the IRS, because now it's public data, that might be a way to see like, okay, I'm looking for X in Atlanta, or I'm looking for X in Houston, or I'm looking for X in Phoenix. I bet you the IRS would also have a way to funnel that information, but we're going to try to be, as much information as we can provide that we get from the IRS as possible. Again, in a very easy, like our app is not for technical people, Cedric. It's for the everyday person who needs to utilize things, and as a 14-year-old could use it, right? That's the way we look at it. But yes, I think creating more value in resources, like one of the things I just saw, which I'd love to do in our app. So I would love to have the capability and down the road where the hurricane happened in Houston, right? Our app notifies everybody on the app. This is happening. This is the app. It could be the day after. This is what happened. This is what transpired. Here's the orgs that we know are in the area that can deploy, right? So because we can get that from the IRS and say all the disaster relief orgs. Everybody gets a notification. You go, I'm going to give $1, $5, $10, $20, whatever. That money is immediately deployed to those orgs because we already know, and then we know they're in the zone. And then they can be activated faster through that channeling and directly, immediately responding. I'm feeling bad because Helene, I just gave money today to the Helene going, it's just awful over there. But yeah, I would love to have that capability. And then from that, these are similar things. We're like, how do we build these resources, right? So anybody could access them. So yeah, I think it's very important.
This is really good. Do you have any advice, any encouraging words that you would give to that nonprofit that's still in the midst of it, trying to figure it out, but right now they may be experiencing some type of burnout or things like that? What advice or what would you tell them right now?
Sure. The first thing you want to do is search for orgs that are similar in terms of how they're serving the community. You can find orgs that are serving the community, not yours. Most likely they're not in yours because you're the one doing that. But I would say you search for orgs doing similar work. And again, you could probably find that through the IRS or with the Google search or the Perplexity search. Find the orgs doing similar work. Then you reach out to those people and say, hey, I would love to talk to you about, I'm at this stage. Can you help me? Can you direct me? Can you give me some ideas or strategies, or how would you reach out to get advisors or volunteers or board members? Or how did you get your fundraising kicked off? I think you'll find that most people at nonprofits, if they have the capability and time, they're more than likely going to help you and direct you and either provide some resources, direct you to some resources, offer resources personally. So I think in this world today, people are much more compassionate, empathetic in that space, in the sector of helping one another.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. John, if someone wants to connect with you and what you're doing, where should they go?
So if they go to the website, it's begiving.one, ONE1, and then it's /lead to greatness /again. And they can find out as much as they'd like to learn about us, what we're doing. We have a brand new website, by the way, which is great. We're going to have the knowledge base on there. People can access any of the evidentiary support for what we're doing, and they can participate. So nonprofits can get registered and sign up, and we can get participants signed up before the live app goes, which is great. Impact investment for philanthropy technology is the hardest capital to raise on a planetary level. It's impossible. I've talked to so many CEOs and leaders in the space, and they're like, it's the hardest, because it just doesn't get enough love from the investor side. So we're doing a crowdfunding campaign because we know people are going to resonate with what we're doing and they're going to want to be part of it. So whether they give us $1, $5, or $200, it doesn't matter. Just be part of our movement because the revolution started, and we welcome everybody to join it.
On behalf of the Lead to Greatness community, I want to thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule and adding value to us all. We want to thank you for joining us today on the Lead to Greatness podcast. So remember, if you help others reach their greatest potential, together we can change the world. Peace.